Hi everyone and welcome. In this chapter we will talking about use TestCafe Docker image, how we can run our test inside a Docker container. What we will cover during this chapter. In this chapter we will talking about introduction to Docker, how we can install Docker on macOS, download TestCafe image, and run test inside Docker container. Introduction to Docker, or what is Docker? Wikipedia defines Docker as an open source project that automates the deployment of software application inside containers by providing an additional layer of abstraction and automation of OS level visualization on Linux. So, Docker is a tool that allows developers or system admins to easily deploy their applications in a sandbox, with Docker is called containers, to run on the host operating systems, for example, Linux. The key benefits of Docker is that allows users to package an application with all of its dependencies into a standardized unit for software development. Unlike virtual machines, containers don't have high overhead and hence enable more efficient usage of the underlying system and resources. What are containers? Previously, we were using virtual machines or VMs to run software applications. VMs run applications inside the guest operating systems, which run on virtual hard powered by server host OS. VMs are great at providing full process isolation for applications. There are very few ways a problem in the host operating system can affect the software running as the guest operating system, and vice versa, but this isolation comes at great cost. But containers take a different approach. By leveraging the low-level mechanics of the host operating system, containers provide most of the isolation of virtual machines at a fraction of the computing power. And now the question is, why use containers? Containers offer a logical packaging mechanism in which application can be abstracted from the environment in which they actually run. This decoupling allows container-based applications to be deployed easily and consistently, regardless of whether the target environment is a private data center, the public cloud, or even a developer personal laptop. And this gives the developers the ability to create predictable environments that are isolated from the rest of the application and can be run anywhere. In this demo, we will learn how to install Docker on Mac OS. To install Docker on Mac OS, we can open our browser and search about Docker for Mac OS. Then here we can find install Docker desktop on Mac OS. We will click on this one, and from the documentation for Docker, we can find here that Docker desktop for Mac. We can download it from here. This is the community version for Docker Mac. So I can click on download Docker from Docker Hub, and here I can get the Docker for free because it's available for free, and I can get a stable version, and after that I can download it. So I will click on save, and here I have DMG. After the installation is finished, I can double click on the DMG and continue with the installation step on Mac OS. After I downloaded Docker file, I can double click on this DMG file, and here I can drag and drop the Docker desktop in the application folder. After we install Docker, we can find the Docker icon here, and now Docker desktop is running, and also Docker desktop contains Kubernetes also, and Kubernetes is running. So after that we can open a terminal and check if the Docker is installed successfully or not from the Docker info command line. So here from the terminal we can just run Docker info, and here we can get all the details about the Docker desktop version, the containers, images, and all the info that related to Docker. In this demo we will download the latest version of TestCafe Docker image using Docker command line. To download TestCafe image with Docker, this is the official documentation from TestCafe. So we can use this command, docker pull testcafe. So from the terminal, we can here just copy this command and put it here. So here we are downloading the latest version from TestCafe Docker image. And because I have already the image installed or downloaded in my machine, so it doesn't take time. But in your case, it will take a little bit time to download the Docker image file. The latest Docker image contains all the dependencies you need to run TestCafe. The image includes the TestCafe executable for running a test, and it also includes the recent version of Firefox and the Chromium browser to run your tests. You can run your tests in headless mode or normal mode, since the image is set up with the XVFB display server. This display server allows you to use functionality like taking a screenshot during your test runs. And one additional note, that when you run the test using a Docker image, you want to see the browser open up and run your test even in normal mode. Running a graphical interface using Docker on your desktop, such as a web browser, requires additional configuration to allow Docker to use your desktop display server. It's not a simple solution and varies by system. If you wanted to see browser run your test, you will need to set up a TestCafe in your local system. After we downloaded and installed Docker Desktop on macOS and pulled or downloaded the latest version of TestCafe Docker image, now it's time to run our test inside Docker container. And as mentioned in the documentation from TestCafe, to run the test inside Docker container, we can use this command, docker run -v, and this is a folder for our test from the local folder. And this is the folder that we need to copy our test inside the Docker container. Then we name the version of the container with TestCafe, and after that we need to pass the TestCafe arguments, like the browser name, the test file, and all the things that we need to pass. For example, here we can just mention that we can run on Chromium or Firefox, because the Docker container just including these two browsers is not including a Chrome browser, and we can pass the test, for example, the test.js. So we will open our project, and just we did one change here, that we are putting all the folders or subfolders in our project into one folder, tests, because we need to copy this folder with the data and the pages to be able to run our test. So inside the tests, we put the data and the pages, and this is our test case. We just take the registration page or registration test from the previous demos. And after that, we need to copy this folder inside the Docker container. So here from the command line, we can run this command, docker run -v and bwd. This means that we need to take the test from our local or from the current folder. And after that, we copy it inside the test folder inside the Docker container, -c TestCafe and Firefox, because the container is including Firefox and Chromium only. And after that, we need to run the test. So we can just click enter, and we can notice that the TestCafe now is running our test, but we will not see any browser open because it's running inside the Docker container. So here we can find the test result that we are now running on Firefox with this version, and the operating system is Linux because we are running inside Docker container. And this is the first test passed, and we are waiting the second one. So now we have two test cases passed, and our test runs inside our Docker container.